What's up, guys? For this topic, I've been wanting to do this topic for a while now. I believe Scottish Warrior 92 did this a while back, and when he did it, I was gonna do a video response, but I just never got around to it. And today, someone asked me, someone was like, do a Dragon Age video, and I was like, right now is the perfect time to do it, so I'm finally gonna do it. I'm gonna talk about Dragon Age 3, what I think about it, what I think might happen in there, what I would love to see. Yeah. So Dragon Age 3 hasn't been announced yet officially, but they are working on it. BioWare is working on it because a while back, they've been working on it for a while now. A while back, maybe towards the beginning of this year, they were already, I believe somebody from BioWare tweeted that they were getting like more people to work on Dragon Age 3. And I was like, I was going crazy because it was just, proof that they were already working on it. It was never a question whether they would be, because obviously there was going to be a Dragon Age 3 just because of the way that Dragon Age 2 ended. It ended like it didn't really end. It was like a cliffhanger. And I know some people didn't like the ending for Dragon Age 2, and I didn't mind it. I mean, I wasn't like, oh my god, that was such an awesome ending like Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age Origins, in my opinion, no ending has ever met that ending. I mean, I've said this millions of times. I cried like a baby at the end of Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age 2, I was just like, what? But, I mean, whatever. I mean, it ended like a cliffhanger because of Dragon Age 3. So, whatever. I'm totally looking forward to Dragon Age 3, though. But yeah, let's talk about what I think the style is going to be, because we have had two styles. Dragon Age Origin was completely different, and Dragon Age 2 was also very different. They have their similarities, of course. They're both Dragon Age titles. But they were very different, not only in the way that the gameplay, but also in the way that the story was told. Dragon Age Origins was happening as you went along, and in Dragon Age 2, it was more like it had already happened, and you're hearing somebody tell the story, and you're kind of playing like in the past, which was awesome. I liked both styles, but let's just talk about what I think we should expect for Dragon Age 3. I would like to see a lot of things. I would like to see a lot of returning characters, but maybe not so much on your party. If you're going to have a returning character in your party, I would just like to see like one returning character, not like a bunch of returning characters, because as much as you love those characters, sometimes they're just overdone. If you do that constantly. BioWare is so good at creating characters that if they spend enough time on creating new characters, they really get awesome storylines. For example, Awakening had some of the best characters. Justice, I loved the idea of Justice. Nathaniel, I loved the idea of Nathaniel. I just love that whole that feud between you and Nathaniel if you were a human. But it was just, the unique characters are awesome. And Dragon Age 2 suffered when it came to the characters. It didn't come anywhere near Dragon Age Origins, not even a little bit. The best character for Dragon Age 2 was Varric. I loved Varric. And I never really liked Anders in Awakening. He was kind of, I was like, okay, he's kind of funny sometimes, but he got on my nerves sometimes. And in Dragon Age 2, when I heard that him and Justice were merged, and I was like, oh, I kind of got all excited, because I was like, oh my god, because I love Justice. And I thought that could have been such a great idea. But they just changed Anders. Anders was different. I even think it was a different voice. It wasn't the same voice. He just felt different. Like, he still had that little that spunkiness of him, but he was just, I don't know, he was different. And I did not like Anders. Isabella, I don't know, she was alright. She was funny, she had some funny lines, but she was a returning character from Origins. And they should have created new characters and just really focused on making them all unique and not. Almost all of them were returning. Meryl returned. Anders returned. Isabella was a returning character. And they didn't do well. At least in my opinion. What's her name? I don't even remember their damn names. Aveline? Aveline could have been a good character. Just because, you know, she's that strong female warrior where I was like, oh, she looks like she's going to be pretty cool. But she was very bland. She was just like bland. I don't know. I really think they could have done more with the characters in Dragon Age 2. I don't know why they didn't. I mean, they're so good at creating characters, and these characters suffered. And I really want that improved in Dragon Age 3. I mean, they should really focus on them like they did in Origins. They created some great characters, memorable characters. Oghren, Alistair, Sten, Shale. These characters were awesome. They were freaking amazing. All of them. Wynne was freaking cool. I loved Wynne. She was like a grandma. Liliana, she wasn't one of my favorites, but she was still cool. She was like a best friend. Zevran was freaking hilarious. It was just, they were perfect, all of them. So I hope that they really focus more on creating unique characters in Dragon Age 3. Like I said, the returning characters, I almost want, if they're gonna be returning, it'd be nice to see like a limited amount of cameos. Because when they start doing too much of it, it's just like, it's almost like they're doing it on purpose. It starts feeling like they're using those characters to get people to like the game. You know, like, oh, Alistair! And then all of a sudden you see, oh, Oghren! And you're just like, okay, come on, it's getting too much. So I would like to see a few cameos here and there. It'd be nice, but not overdone. Because then it just feels like they're doing it on purpose. And it's not so much for the story anymore. The world. I really hope that you get to visit different areas, kind of like in Dragon Age Origins. In Dragon Age Origins, you were able to go in different areas, and in Dragon Age 2, you were pretty much limited to one city and the outskirts, and that just got really tedious after a while, and especially because they had all those recycling the environments. That even made it worse, because you were like, I've been here already, and it's just like a few different things. So they have to focus more on the environments for Dragon Age 3. This whole recycling thing is just ridiculous. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 100% sure that they're gonna focus a lot on the world and on the environment because of the bad feedback that they got from Dragon Age 2. So hopefully that they really do put a lot of time into that. Because if they do, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be kind of like, because Dragon Age Origins, that they did a really good job with that. You went to a bunch of different areas and not just limited to one place, and everything was always new. It wasn't like, I've already been here, you know, just like one template for a dungeon and one template for an outskirt or something. The playstyle, I hope it's real time. I'm pretty sure it will be. More like Origins and not like story told. I love the storytelling in Dragon Age 2. I love that style. But it's going to feel, it just won't work again. Because it's going to be like, again? Another story? Really? So I think it's going to be more like Dragon Age Origins, where you're playing at the moment. I think the biggest concern for the developers is what they're going to do with the Warden from Dragon Age Origins and Hawke. How are they going to make it work for Dragon Age 3? Are you going to be the Warden? Are you going to be Hawke? Are you going to be a new character? Who are you going to be? I personally would prefer to be the Warden. I liked Hawk, but I preferred the Warden. I loved my Warden. So that's probably the biggest issue for me right now. That I'm just like, I have no idea how they're gonna do it, and it's kind of worrisome because you're like, what are they gonna do? How are they gonna make it work? I'm pretty sure they're putting a lot of time and effort and they are probably already know what they're doing. They probably already know how to make it work. And the whole issue with the Warden and Hawk, the way that Dragon Age 2 ended, I think there's something to do with Flemeth. Flemeth, I think, has something to do with what happened to them. I won't go too much into the end of Dragon Age 2 just in case, spoilers and all that. But I think Flemeth has to do with the whole connection between the Warden and Hawk. And there's got to be some kind of... And, I mean, if you're incorporating Flemeth, there's some connection with Morrigan also. They couldn't have just forgotten about them. Morrigan left in Dragon Age Origins at least in my game, she left on a bad note. I was so mad at her. I kicked her out. I was like, leave, and she was like, I'm leaving. I was like, fine. I didn't care. She wasn't in my end battle because she left. And she didn't do the ritual. Again, I won't go into that, but for those of you that have played it, you know what I'm talking about. In my game, I didn't get the ritual done with Morrigan. I was in a relationship with Alistair, and I was like, oh, hell no, get out of my face, fool! And she left. I don't know how that's going to play out for me, or at least that playthrough. But Morrigan, the ritual didn't happen. I played Witch Hunt, and I let Morrigan go. But for others, the people that did get the ritual done with Morrigan, that's another thing that I'm really curious about. Like, what's gonna happen with that? And I think it has a big thing to do with what's going on at the end of Dragon Age 2. I mean, in Dragon Age 2, there was so much, so many things that you were just like, what? So many questions, and they all had, or at least the biggest ones for me, had to do with Flemeth. I was always like, what is her role in all this? They haven't answered that. I mean, you know that she's a dragon, but you're just like, what is her role? What does she want? What did she want with the Warden? What did she want with Hawk? And now, all of a sudden, some kind of coincidence, something going on between the Warden and Hawk, and you're just like, Flemeth. Flemeth has something to do with it. And what it is, I have no idea, but I really want to find out, because it's going to be really interesting, I think. So I think Dragon Age 3 is going to have to do a lot. I think one of the major plot lines is going to be revolving around Flemeth and or Morrigan. If not one of the two, both. But, yeah, they just have huge roles. They're pretty much the ones that have been leaving the games on cliffhangers. Things that I want to see for Dragon Age 3. I want to see the combat style from Dragon Age 2. I loved that combat style. It was just more animated. Especially the thief. But everything else, you were more in control of your moves. It wasn't just this automatic thing. So I want to see that type of combat style, and if they evolve it even more, then awesome. But as long as it goes in that direction, where you have a little more control in your moves. When it comes to the conversation style, whether the character's going to talk or not, now I guess it all depends on who they're going to bring back. I mean, could you imagine if... This is another thing that makes me wonder, if, let's say, you're going to be the Warden and not Hawk, how are they going to make that work? Because the Warden didn't talk in Dragon Age Origins. And it's just going to be really weird for the Warden to be talking in Dragon Age 3, if they make it that way. And if they bring Hawk, it's going to be really weird if they don't make Hawk talk. So, I don't know how they're going to resolve that. What if you're both? I don't know. But, I mean, if you're going to be able to be both, they've got to stick to one specific conversation style. And I don't know. because they were both different. I've said this before, I prefer when my character talks, but Dragon Age Origins didn't really bother me because my character didn't talk. It was still good. I liked it. So if my character doesn't talk, whatever. But it would be nice to hear my character talk. So I'm kind of siding more towards the character talking. But I don't think that would really affect my like or dislike of the game. You know what I really want to see in Dragon Age 3? I don't know if you guys remember the character Cullen. He was in Dragon Age Origins and he was in Dragon Age 2. He was a Templar from the Circle. In Dragon Age Origins, he came out in the Mage Origin, if you were a mage, he was that Templar that was in the hall, and then he had a crush on you, and you talked to him. And this is if you were female. He runs away because you're like you're blushing, or you tell him that he's blushing or something, and then he just runs away like embarrassed. That's Cullen, and he's also later on he comes out in Dragon Age Origins. When you go to the Circle, no matter what race or class you chose, you go back to the Circle. This is where you get Win, I believe. Cullen's there again, and he's like in that bubble, and he's like he's like all crazy, and he's in Dragon Age 2. He was the lead. I think he was a Knight Commander. No, he wasn't the Knight Commander. He was the Lieutenant Knight. I forgot his rank for Dragon Age 2, but he was like the top Templar below Meredith. He was like her second in command or something like that. I loved him. I loved Cullen. He was so awesome. I want to see him in your party. And a love interest too. He's just such an awesome character. I loved him in Dragon Age Origins, and he was cool in Dragon Age 2 also. But I just would have loved to see more about him. And I just love the idea that he was like madly in love with the Warden, and nothing ever happened. She like left, and he was like heartbroken. And he still talks about her in Dragon Age 2. If you mention it and your Warden was a girl, he still mentions her, and he's like all like fond of her. He's like, oh, I've never met another woman like her, or something like that. And I was like, oh, I would love to see Cullen in your party for Dragon Age 3 and have him be a love interest, especially if the Warden is coming back. That'd be so freaking cool. I would just love for Dragon Age 3 to be kind of like a mesh of Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2. Because Dragon Age 2 had its good things, like I said, the combat system and that type of thing. And Dragon Age Origins just had so many cool things to it that they got rid of in Dragon Age 2. So I'm hoping that they kind of just mesh both of them and get Dragon Age 3 and just really focus on making the things that suffered in both better, because they have that feedback from the fans to make Dragon Age 3 a great game, or a great Dragon Age title. Because Dragon Age has so much potential. The storyline is amazing. The characters, I just love the series. It's so good. So it has a lot of potential. So I'm hoping that they'll learn from the past games and just get the best parts of each game and evolve it and, make it better for Dragon Age 3. Because I think this is the last of the trilogy. They might be doing kind of like Mass Effect, where they're doing more like different storylines, but the same universe. I don't know. They haven't said anything about it, but for this storyline, I believe it's just a trilogy. Damn, it's getting dark. So I'm gonna end it here. Jeez, that got super dark. So I'm gonna end it here. Hopefully that was interesting. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for Dragon Age 3? What do you guys, what do you want to see in Dragon Age 3? That'd be nice if we got some information in the VGAs regarding Dragon Age 3. I kind of doubt it, but it would be nice. Or a trailer soon or something, because that would freaking make me cry. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.